This is a Rogue Media Network production.
Welcome to the show. You know, there are some stories that don't belong in history books. They belong in our hearts, and they deserve to be carried forward. And today we're talking about one such story. You may know the name Deanie Parrish. She's a trailblazer, a member of the Women Air Force Service pilots during World War II, and a woman who quite literally helped change the course of history. But to my guest today, she was just mom. She was mom. And so I'm so delighted to have Nancy Parrish here with us today to talk about her mom. She was born in a boxcar in Florida, became a pilot of military aircraft, stood before Congress as a voice for WASP, the WASPs, and she lived a life of courage and faith and dedication and determination. And even before passing away, just shy of her 100th birthday, her story continues to inspire. So I'm just delighted we can talk about your mom.
Thanks.
And all that you have done over the years to preserve her story, and how Baylor and their oral history department is still doing that, right?
Amen. Amen. Yeah. They have stepped up in a wonderful way from the very beginning. Actually, Dr. Reynolds, Herb Reynolds, who was the chancellor at the time, we went and met with him when we were starting Wings Across America, which is the project that Mama and I did together. And we sat down with Dr. Reynolds, and we were very nervous about it. I mean, he was a friend of the family, my sister's side of the family. And we sat down and explained to him kind of what we'd like to do. And he said, "Oh, I think it's a wonderful idea." He said, "I knew a WASP."
Oh.
He said, "She was in my hometown." And he said, "When she came home from the war in her blue uniform, I was in love." That's what he said. So that from that moment on, Baylor was fully supportive. And just because of the women that we were interviewing, because of the character that they had, and I didn't know from the beginning, when Mom and I got together to do this, I didn't know that everybody wouldn't be like Mom. I thought they were all going to be a cigarette in one hand, a drink in the other, and the stick between their knees, and they could curse like a sailor. I wasn't sure what we were getting into.
Right.
And when we started interviewing the WASP, and the doors just opened, and God said, "See, I told you this was a good idea."
This is a really good idea.
Yeah.
And is that what
Yes.
this book
Yes,
is all about?
WASP in Their Own Words is directly from our interviews of WASP in 19 different states, and there's over 100 WASP who are quoted in that book, and they tell a story. Their stories tell their story. There's so many of them. It's like a big quilt, in a way. Of these wonderful stories. They didn't all have the same job. They didn't all go, now they went through the same training, but they didn't go to the same air base. There were 120 different air bases. Mom got to go first she was sent to Greenville, Mississippi, and then she was sent to Tyndall Air Force Base to fly the B-26s, which was a huge thing at the time. But nobody knew who the WASP were. The whole time they were flying, they were told not to tell people. If they met people downtown in public, don't talk about what you do.
And why? So secret?
Because our government did not want the enemy to know how hard up we were that we were letting women fly our
women
planes.
were, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was one big reason.
Ah.
And some of them were told, "Tell them you're a baseball club," and one was arrested at the gate for impersonating an officer because she had her uniform on. They didn't know. Even the Air Force didn't know who she was.
Didn't know
who the WASP were. And another one was, radioing in as she was landing, and they said, "Would you please tell the woman to get off the air so we can land this pilot's plane?" She said, "I am the pilot." So there was that.
It was trailblazing.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was. And Mom was the trailblazer, of
Yeah.
course, to me. But she wasn't the first WASP to go through the training. She was about in the middle. But,
Okay.
she was the most determined.
Well, and she was smart, though. As you say, she was very determined. So let's kind of go back and talk a little bit
Okay.
about her early days. Born in a boxcar. I mean, they were poor.
Yes, they were.
Am
They
I to
were.
interpret that as?
They were. It was sitting on the side of the tracks up near Defuniak Springs, Florida, which is up in the Panhandle. And her dad was looking for work, and at that time they had 3 children, and she was number 4. They were going to have. They'll end up with 7, and they decided. He made enough money. They got a car or a truck, and drove down to Avon Park, to that area, which was beautiful because it had all the citrus trees, and so
I heard of that.
he picked oranges. He worked in the sawmill. He did everything he could to feed his family.
To feed the family.
Yeah, and the family worked too. And that's the thing about my mom was she was never afraid to do a hard day's work. She helped her mom clean houses. She helped her mom iron clothes, wash the clothes, learned how to cook, learned how to wring a chicken's neck.
Yeah.
I haven't learned to do that, have you?
I've seen it done. But,
Really?
I
haven't even seen it done. But that's what they did.
If you were going to get chicken, that's what you did. You went and caught the thing.
Well, those days you didn't have to go to the grocery store.
no, you couldn't. Didn't have any money to do that.
No, you didn't. And they didn't, for sure.
Yeah.
But from that, she just had a terrific work ethic. Her first day of school, she went with her big sister to school up in the Panhandle. And then down in Alturas, the first town they stopped in, they went to a one-room schoolhouse, and she followed her big sister. She was 4, I think, maybe 5.
Little, yeah.
And she did great. She loved it. She loved school. And when they got to Avon Park, her mother, she went to school with her sister, and they said, "No, you can't come in. You're not old enough." And they sent her home. And her mother stepped up and went down with her and said, "You give her a test. And if she passes the test, you let her in."
Yeah.
She passed the test.
Yeah, she was already, I'm sure, reading and writing.
Yeah, she never missed a day of school in 12 years.
Yeah.
That was one of her things. That and valedictorian, she was very proud of that.
Yeah.
I think she still had her speeches from graduation ceremony. But she was very proud. She knew education was important, and she knew hard work was important. And certainly her system of faith started when she was a little child, believing that with God nothing was impossible. And we can tell that story.
Yeah.
That's the story of her first solo flight.
Right. I wanted to get to that because
Yeah.
how did she get interested in aviation and even have the opportunity?
Well, of course, this is before World War II. There were bases being set up and training camps being set up across America.
Yeah, but
to
especially Florida.
to help young men to learn to fly.
Sure.
They didn't have training camps for women. They had them for young men. And she worked in the bank as a teller. And the tellers, would talk to the customers. She'd talk to the customers. And the best looking ones were the instructors. And she loved talking to the instructors. But all they wanted to talk about was flying.
Yeah.
And so one day she asked, if these guys that are here, these young men are my age, why can't I learn to fly? And she said she couldn't find anybody to give her an answer. So she found a married instructor. That was important. You didn't want to be in a plane with a single man.
Sure.
Just anyway. And so he said, I will give you flying lessons. So she paid him out of her salary. And her mother would go watch, and she would crochet as Mom took off and landed. And the war had not started yet. This is before, this is the Lend-Lease era. And she did that and got to a point where one day she landed, and she had asked the instructor, "Do you think I'll make a good pilot?" And he said, "Well, I can't tell you." But he said, "One day something will happen, and you will know you'll be a good pilot." So she kept flying, and I don't know how many hours she had, 7 or 8 hours. And he stopped the little Cub, and he got out, and he knotted it up his seatbelt, and he leaned in and said, "Now you take it around." And he said, if you come around and I wave you off, do it again. And he shut the door.
So he's out of the plane.
And now he's out of the plane.
This is her solo
This is her
flight.
solo flight, yeah. So she gets in she gets going down the runway. She's very excited. This is, I'm in the
anyone would
plane by
be.
myself.
Sure.
She pushed forward, she pushed forward on a stick, rolled the plane forward, and then when it got to the point where it had enough energy, she pulled back on the stick and the plane lifted up, and it went up slowly. These are little bitty. This is like a kite, really, with an engine. But she was going up, and on her second, she did it once, and he waved her off, and she did it one more time. The second time she did it, and she went by, and he waved her off, and so she did it again, same thing, gradually going up. And then when you get to a point where it's time to level off, just like with a car, or well, the cars used to do this. I don't know if they do now. But you have to slow down a little bit in order to go faster. I know that sounds weird, but you have to give it a little time to catch up and then give it more gas, basically. Mm-hmm. And that's what she did. And when she pushed forward on the stick, it came off in her hand.
Oh my God.
And this is a famous story of what do I do now?
What do I do now?
Yeah, because the
Up
plane,
there alone, yeah.
You're going like this, you're about to crash because it's about to quit.
Right.
Because it's chugging, chugging, chugging. You need to level off, and she couldn't. So she took her seatbelt off and reached forward and saw a sign that said, "Do not solo from front seat." And she said, "Well, I'm gonna get us."
Why? Now, why is that? Don't solo.
I think
from
it's the balance. If you're in a plane and you're soloing, you got to solo from where you're used to sitting.
Okay.
I think, and having somebody in the front seat sets the balance different from the plane.
Okay. Interesting.
I sound like I know what I'm talking about. I'm not sure.
Hey, you could tell me anything.
I'm not sure that's true. But anyway, she saw the sign, but she climbed over into the front seat. But she tells us, when she told this story, she said, "And with the tips of my fingers," and she reaches out, and her arms were very short.
Yeah, she was not super tall.
5'2".
Yeah.
That was not really, she was never 5'2". But she would reach and push that stick forward enough just to drop the nose down so that the engine could start to relax and
Right.
get some more RPMs or whatever they are. And when that did, then she crawled over into the front seat and sat on the knotted up seatbelt.
Mm-hmm.
And said, "Well, if I take it down and I don't make a good landing, I'll just bounce and go around. But I got to get it down."
Yeah.
So she undid the seatbelt. I don't know if there was a prayer said. I know that there would have been.
I'll bet.
But she landed the plane. She
Yeah.
she said it wasn't the best landing, but it was a landing.
Yeah. It wasn't
And,
a crash.
Her instructor was so angry. He didn't know what was happening.
Oh, right.
He thought she'd gone nuts. And he was stomping off back toward the
So I should
hangar.
never have given this woman
Yeah,
lessons. Right.
she's a girl. What's she doing?
What is she doing?
And she rolled up right next to him because she didn't know what to do, and then she just stopped. And he turned around and looked at her, and then he looked again, and he said, "What in the are you doing in the front seat?"
Right. You're not supposed to be there.
And she just pointed to the back seat. She didn't say anything. She just pointed, and there was a stick laying on the floor. And he walked up to the window, and he said, "Now you know you have the right stuff to be a pilot."
Yeah.
And that was before John Glenn had the right stuff.
Now, I was going to say the right stuff is
Yeah.
quite a phrase.
It's for every pilot.
Yeah.
I think they have that moment. But she knew at that point she could fly anything.
Mhm.
She had a lot of confidence
Yeah. Yeah.
after that. And some prayers of thanksgiving. For sure, the newspaper said she was lucky the next day, and she said, "I wasn't lucky. I wasn't alone."
Yeah.
So,
God
I mean,
was there.
that's the beginning of her life, her life as a pilot, for
Yeah.
sure.
What do you think this story says about her character?
Determination, quick thinking,
Mhm.
very smart, and honestly, turn it over to God and he's going to take care of it. But, I think she knew that her whole life.
Yeah.
'Cause, anyway, that's her stick story.
Her stick story.
Her stick story.
Well, she often is quoted as saying, "Failure is not failure unless you let it be." So, how did that mindset?
Oh, I can tell that
shape
story. That's
her?
a great story,
Okay.
man. That's fabulous. She was one of the top students. Of course, she was valedictorian. And her senior year, they picked 2 girls to go to Miami to take a test to be in the FBI. You had to type and you had to do shorthand. And Mom had won contests in both.
Mm-hmm.
So she and her friend from high school went on the train to Miami. She said, and the first shorthand was fine. She passed that with a breeze. She said, and then when she sat down to type, in the first 3 lines, she made 2 mistakes. And she said, I knew that they wouldn't hire me because you can't make mistakes if you're typing. So she didn't tell anybody. And all the way back to Avon Park, she didn't tell the other girl. And she didn't get hired.
Yeah.
She spoke to an audience of majors in the Air Force at the Air College at Maxwell Air Force Base. And she ended with that story. And she said, if I had passed that test, I would have been in the FBI.
Yeah.
She said, I failed that test. Am I a failure? She said, failure isn't failure unless you let it be. I would never have been a WASP if I had passed that test. And so that's one of my favorite stories, actually. And that's on the back of her card that I made her. I have her little card.
What a great lesson, though, in approaching life.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
And it's true. Failure isn't failure unless you let it be.
Yeah.
It's simply a change of direction. Oh, I'll go over here. Just count your many blessings and move on. And that was Mom's.
So much more I want to talk to you about, Nancy, about your mom, Deanie, and of course, her uniform and a special medallion that we have, and her just her ability to shine a light, and yours as well, on the WASPs and their importance in our nation's history. I want to tell you that today's show is brought to you by CTWP, your copier company with 7 locations in Central Texas. That's CTWP. Stay with us. There's more of the show ahead.
The Riesel Fair is back and bigger than ever. Bring the whole family for a day packed with fun, from thrilling rides, delicious food, local vendors, and live music Friday night. Saturday music begins at 2 p.m. Admission is $5 for adults, 2 to 12 years, $3. 2 and under are free. Mark your calendar and join us for the Riesel Fair, May 7th through 9th. The Riesel Fair, where memories are waiting just for you.
Earning an online certification is a quick and convenient way to gain industry-recognized credentials. Select your ACLS course. Print your ACLS certificate. You can print your certification wallet card. aclsnow.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today.
For anyone that's in the car buying mode or looking for a car right now or a truck, I would definitely come by on Samuels, get to know the people here like I have, how well I'm taking care of the dealership and how well, service and any kind of warranty issues and those sort of things. Because of the way they take care of me, it's made me a Ram driver. And so I don't think they'd want to go anywhere else if they came here.
Like Alan Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Finance is evolving. Automation, data analytics, and AI are reshaping what finance teams do every single day. The best way to predict the future of finance is to be ready for it. If you want a head start, check out 365 Financial Analyst.
Earning an online certification is a quick and convenient way to gain industry-recognized credentials. Select your ACLS course. Print your ACLS certificate. You can print your certification wallet card. aclsnow.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
If I had somebody that was looking for a car, I would definitely recommend Allen Samuels. The trust that I have, the care that they take, they genuinely want to take care of you. They really ask for your feedback when you go to the support department to make sure they're taking care of you in every way possible. So I really appreciate that they listen to your feedback.
Like Allen Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
And we are back with Nancy Parrish talking about her mom, Deanie, who was just a trailblazer when it comes to women in aviation. She was a member of the WASPs. Now, you say she was not the first, but this was a whole movement of what later was to become the Air Force of women.
Well, there were 1,102 women who went through the training,
right?
Same training as the men went through, to become WASP. There were 1,830 that signed up. So some of them got washed out.
Right.
Just like the men.
Which you would expect.
Same thing with the men. But women had to already have enough hours. I think they had to have 35 when Mom entered. Earlier classes had to have a few more than that. But you had to already know how to fly. My dad had never been in a plane.
Mm-hmm.
And he went through training, and he flew B-24s. So, they train you how to fly the plane.
Right.
And in this case, when the WASP went through training, they went through the Army training to learn how to fly it the Army way.
Mm-hmm.
There was your way, and there was the Army way.
Okay.
And, so there were 18 different classes went through, and Mom was in 44-4, which was 1944, the 4th class.
Okay.
So
not too long before World War II was over.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. But she still had lots and lots to do. Let's talk about the uniform that you have here. Now, this is really a recreation, right?
It is. It's not an original uniform, but it's the same color, the same type material, and certainly the same cut. We did it from a uniform that we had been donated to us, and a seamstress here in Waco made this. We were very proud of the job she did. We had the buttons. We already had the buttons.
Okay.
And this uniform, the original uniform, was designed by Bergdorf Goodman.
Really?
And fitted by Neiman Marcus. And when Jacqueline Cochran, and we haven't talked about Jacqueline Cochran, but it was her idea to have a group that could take the place of the male pilots so they could go to war and the planes here in America could be flown by women.
Okay.
She still holds more records for altitude, speed, and distance than any pilot.
Really?
Male or female.
Oh, my goodness.
She was incredible. And she had this idea where, you need to put them through training. You don't need to hire ferry pilots and pay them money. Just put them through training and put them in the military. Same training as the men. And they did great.
Mm-hmm.
They flew the B-17s, B-26s that were not supposed to be flown by women and barely flown by men. The B-26 was called the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
Because so many of them had crashed.
Well, I know in training, so many pilots died just learning how to fly these planes.
Yeah, well, the WASP lost 38.
Really?
Which
in
is
training.
really an incredible number when you consider out of 1,074, they lost 38. But they were not given any benefits. Male pilots were sent home with, the flag on the coffin, and the government paid for all of the sending him home and all that. They had to take up collections to send WASP home who had been through, even if they were a trainee or if they were a graduate, didn't matter. A WASP and an Army Air Force pilot could be killed in the same plane. He would get all the benefits. She got nothing because they were considered civilians at the time. So I think, the saddest story I have to tell, and I'll tell it real quick. In Mom's class, there'd been a plane crash somewhere. 2 planes had collided.
Oh.
And her class was coming back from a cross-country flight. So they were out in San Angelo and different places and coming in from those different places. And the other plane was evidently a girl on her first solo flight. So they collided somewhere, and they knew it was somebody in their class, and they didn't know who it was. So here's the way the day went for them. You go out to the runway every time you hear an engine and run out to see who's coming in. Because when you're on a cross country, you come in at different times. And they waited till the last plane came in. And then they realized Mom knew it was one of her friends.
Mm-hmm.
It was Mary Howsam. And they had to take up a collection to send her home to Pennsylvania. And the other part of the story is several weeks later, after Mom had already graduated and all her class had graduated, Mary's mother asked permission to visit Sweetwater to talk to the trainees. And they said, sure. And she came from Pennsylvania, which, this is World War II. You got to gas rationing and all of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, you got to figure out a way to get there. But she came and she met with the trainees, and she stood up in front of them and pulled out a yellow telegraph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Telegram, yeah.
Telegraph. Anyway, pulled it out and read it to them. She said, this is what I got from the War Department, and I wanted you to know so you could tell your families. And she read it, and it said, your daughter was killed this morning. Where do you want us to ship the body? That was it.
That was it.
That was it. And so this is, WASP were really considered cargo in some ways. They were considered just inconvenient in some places.
I'm sure some men did view it that way.
And some CEOs did not want them at their bases and made it very difficult for them. But they did it anyway. And they did it, and they didn't talk back. They didn't cause a problem. They didn't have a protest. They didn't carry a sign. They just did their jobs.
Yeah.
This is the best way to protest for the WASP. You want to be a WASP, you want to fly, don't get out there and yell about it and complain. Just do your job.
Yeah, just do your job.
And that's what they did.
Yeah.
And that to me is inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you're gritting your teeth the whole time, that's fine. Just grit your teeth. But Mom went on to fly the B-26's Widowmakers and was stationed at Tyndall, which is real close to her home. Her parents were terrified. Her mother especially was terrified.
Mm-hmm.
There was headlines in the Tampa Bay paper, one a day in Tampa Bay with the B-26s. And Mom said she loved flying it. It was the best plane she ever flew. It was fast. She wanted to fly pursuits. She would love to have flown P-51s.
Oh, wow.
But the B-26 was just as fast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
Don't let me make stuff up. I'm trying not to do that. I want to tell you what I know is true, but I know it was a very fast attack bomber.
Right.
And it had the best combat record of any bomber and the worst training record.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons was the minute something bad happens to an airplane, everybody whispers and, it's a bad airplane. You can't fly. Don't fly that. Don't fly that. And if you're sitting in it and you're flying it, and you think that, you're going to crash. You've got to believe
that it's going to.
So Cochran and General Arnold and Jackie Cochran crawled into a B-26 and took a flight. Mm-hmm. And when they got out, he said, yeah, we'll send WASP. We'll send the WASP to go through the transition training. We interviewed one of those WASP, and she said when they got there, they drove them past the boneyard, and here are all the planes stacked up everywhere. And they took them into the ready room and said, look, we know this is a dangerous job, and we want you to know that if you want to turn around and go home, that is fine with us.
Yeah.
But if you stay, and if you succeed, you will be the first women to fly a bomber. And it was a big deal. And everybody stayed.
Yeah.
Everybody stayed. And so Sandy Thompson was one of those. And she said when she got to be the first WASP, not to solo, but to fly without her instructor, she was sitting in the cockpit ready to take off, and Sergeant Black, who was her crew chief, came into the plane, and he said, where's your instructor? And she said, I was so bad. She said, I don't have one today. I'm going to take it by myself. And he got off. He got right off. And she went to the door of the plane, stuck her head out, and said, Sergeant Black, I'm just going to take it up and make some gentle turns and come right back. And he just wouldn't budge. And so she said, well, okay, I'm going to call the tower and tell them Sergeant Black won't go up with me. And he turned around and he spit on the runway and he said, I'm tired of living anyway. So these are the stories.
Oh, my goodness. Well, and all in this book here that we talked about.
Yes, that's true.
Awesome. An illustrated history of the trailblazing World War II women Air Force service pilots. And this is available, right?
On Amazon.
Amazon.
It's on Amazon. It is. I'm not very good at marketing.
Well, okay, I'll help you then.
Okay.
So here we have Mustard Seed Miracles. Now, this is a short book that you wrote.
Yes.
After the WASP Congressional Gold Medal ceremony. Is that what that medal is? Roy?
This is let me reach for it. Okay. Yeah. Makes it easy. You just right there.
That is just right there.
This is the WASP Congressional Gold Medal. I'll be Vanna White here. This was a medal designed to honor the WASP and their service, and really gave America the opportunity to say thank you. Mm-hmm. They had never been thanked. They had veteran status in 1977. They had to fight for that.
Oh my
They
goodness.
had to put it in another bill. President Carter didn't even want to sign the bill, but he did, because it was for the Merchant Marines, and he liked the Merchant Marines. So he signed the bill, but they weren't invited to the ceremony when he signed it.
Wow.
So, there were still little lingering things like that. But anyway, this was America's chance to say thank you. Mm-hmm. And Mom was the one that had the idea, we've got to get national recognition, and it wasn't for each WASP, it was for all the WASP, that their story would be documented in a way that kids would learn from it forever. Mm-hmm. And as a congressional gold medal, George Washington got one of these. Right. John Glenn got one of these. There were, there's a lot, you can look it up, but the Tuskegee Airmen had been given one medal for all the Tuskegee Airmen. Of them? And then these are replica medals, which we awarded to the WASP individually. Yeah. So that they could all have a copy of their medal. Yeah. But it meant a lot to them. And we went to D.C. to meet with the protocol office when they were deciding when to have the ceremony, and they decided, and where to have the ceremony. And my sister went with us up there, and the protocol officer said, well, we can have it in the rotunda that seats 400. And Barbie said, these are women who have many children and many grandchildren and many people who love them. She said, their enthusiasm for supporting this event is going to be huge. And it was the largest indoor ceremony in the Capitol in history. It wasn't in the rotunda. It was downstairs in the Capitol. There's a big room downstairs. Mm-hmm. It's huge. It's the same size as Congress. So it's got all of the same seating arrangements, and they could do the same thing down there. It was, we had overflow. There were 7 overflow rooms upstairs. Wow. With TVs. There were people hanging on the rails. Yeah. It was amazing. And there were, I think, I'm trying to think, over 100 WASP showed up.
I wondered how many WASPs.
And this was 2010. They were all in their 70s and 80s.
Oh, they had to have been elderly, yeah.
Yeah. So, some of them were in wheelchairs, some of them had oxygen. They didn't care. They were
there. They were going to be there.
They were
going to be there. And one more. This is Bishop Flies with a Wasp of World War II, a children's book.
Yes, that was fun. Oh.
What motivated you to do this?
Well, my sister motivated me. Mm-hmm. She wanted to do a Beanie Baby called Fly Baby.
Yeah.
And
that's a good idea.
I thought that was a good idea. She was going to get, and then she died.
Oh no.
So I took the idea of Beanie Baby and, having the Fly Baby, and thought, well, we'll do a book, and, Fly Baby. And my niece said, Nancy, I've got 2 little boys. They're not going to play with anything called Fly Baby.
No.
And a Beanie Baby isn't big enough to play with. Yeah. So we designed Bishop.
Look.
I brought you.
I love that.
This is
There's
Bishop. We were going to actually have this made, and we didn't, because we didn't, you got to have funding to have things like that made. But,
sure. Yeah.
But anyway, this is our prototype Bishop.
Yeah. He is so
But
cute.
that book, what was exciting about that book was I could tell the story of the wasp through a bear.
Yeah.
I could tell wasp stories, things that they did when they were young that are just hysterical. I mean, the one wasp that jumped out of the barn holding an umbrella thinking she could fly.
Oh, gosh.
That actually happened.
Yeah.
And then another wasp would run around her front yard waving her arm like a propeller.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden one arm was longer than the other because she did it all the time. She was so excited about it. So she changed arms. That was Sister Teresa, our nun.
Really?
Yeah.
You had a nun wasp. Oh,
yeah.
my.
I got to tell you, Ann, when this whole thing started, I came out of television, I came out of PBS, and I wanted to do something significant. I wanted to do something with purpose. And I prayed about this. I said, Lord, please don't let this be about a bunch of women who flew airplanes who are, talk like sailors. And when we sent out our request to the WASP, the very first response I got was from Sister Teresa, who lived on an island in the French Antilles.
Really?
And that was because Mom said, go ahead and spend the extra money on the stamp, because I didn't want to, she's not coming, she's in a convent. Mom said, I want her to know somebody cares about what she did.
Right.
And that was kind of the way we approached this whole thing.
Right.
So I got a letter back from her, and she said, Nancy, I believe what you're doing is important, and I want to participate. But I need to know, will you allow me to talk about God in my life?
So,
You know what I wrote her back? I wrote her back, the first line said, hallelujah.
Yeah.
This is the answer to my prayer. That's exactly what I wanted.
Right.
And of course, the second one was Ruth. That was one of our first responses. And then when Ruth Helm came to Baylor, Ruth Helm was a graduate of Baylor. It's the only WASP to graduate from Baylor, but we got one. She came, and I asked her to bring some of her papers that I could take pictures of. And she came to be in the homecoming parade. Dr. Reynolds had arranged it.
Oh, really?
He paid for her room, and it was just really nice. It was a lovely thing. And they honored her as a former Baylor Bear. And so we got Joe Nimmer with his A-26, and then we got a cadre of AT-6s from out of Gilmer, Texas, where Steve Dean, who was also a graduate of Baylor, he put together 3 more. So we had 4 planes. We had a flyover of the homecoming parade.
Yes.
And it kept flying over because the parade stopped.
As it is wont to do.
So we had flyover, and then they'd announce it, here comes the flyover.
Here you go, one more time.
Anyway,
I love it.
That's what happened with that. And anyway, I had to introduce her to the crowd at the breakfast. They have a breakfast at I don't even know how early it was, very early.
It's early, yeah.
And so I introduced her, and I said, I never met her. I talked to her on the phone, but I said I'd never met her. And I said, and so she brought these things to me, and I showed them to her, to the audience. I said I had her shot record, and here is the card that says you can get into the the Love Field Officers Club, so you can have lunch. And I said, and here, other things. And I said, and here's the last thing I want to show you. And if I don't have another card, this is the only one I think is important. This is her church card.
Yeah.
She carried this with her. It says, be it known to the, whatever, that Ruth Daly is a member of the Graceland Baptist Church, And I said she carried this card with her in every plane she flew. And she flew 22 different kinds of planes. She was amazing. And such a grounded, kind, soft-spoken person. And several of them were like that. And every time I met somebody like that, I went, God, you're just showing off.
Yeah, that's right.
You're answering my prayer, and you're just showing off. But when and I'm jumping around, and I'm sorry about that. My brain works that way lately.
That's okay. I mean, me
I'm
too.
sitting on the front
makes
row.
perfect sense to me.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the front row of the Congressional Gold Medal ceremony, and I'm looking up at Mom, and I think to myself, Lord, you're just showing off. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's never anything we prayed for. We did not pray for that. But it was like blessings exploded.
Yeah.
And it's been that way. And having Baylor be a part of this and be able to talk about God,
yeah,
I
know,
is important.
And so this new collection through the Oral History Department, when is that? How does that work?
Well, it's digital.
Okay.
So there will be a link, and you will be able to visit the video interviews with everybody we talked to.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of them, and it's great. The video comes up, and then on the right-hand side is a transcript, and it goes by, and you can read the transcript as they're talking. It's very cool.
That's wonderful.
And I'm not sure what the procedure is to sign in to use the videos, but we want people to be able to use them, for different projects and to learn about the WASP, write their own book if they want to. There are just so many wonderful stories.
You've done so much work, though, with this, which is what, and you have a poster there, something that the Mayburn.
Yeah. Well, yes, I can be Vanna White one more time. I'll hold this up again. In 2007, we had been doing this for quite a while, and
I want to move your arm. Yeah, it's right in front of the mic. Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We'd been doing this for quite a while, and we started in 1996 with these interviews.
Okay. Yeah.
With raising money and all that. But anyway, we went over to the Mayborn, and I said, can we show you what we're doing? Can you come to our office? And our office at the time looked like a mini museum.
Yeah.
And they came, and they said, can you bring some of this over to the Mayborn? And that's how this happened. After this, we sent some pictures to the Women's Memorial in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, can you come talk to us about it? We can't just let you bring stuff, but we'll like to see.
Right.
So I did a book, a proposal, and I made the exhibit twice as big because I love visual aids, as you know. And I took the book, and Barbie went with me. This is at the time Mom was not, her health was just, not great. So she stayed home, and Barbie and I went and did the proposal to the General Vaught, who was great. She was a crusty, kind of a wonderful crusty, lovable in a way, but she wouldn't let you hug her.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't want that advertised.
No. Anyway, but she was great, and they liked what we were showing them. And so we went home and started printing and working and putting together the exhibit, took it to D.C., and it was there when the Congressional Gold Medal bill was announced on the floor. Senator Hutchison announced it, and that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
When they wanted to know who the WASP were, because all the staffers went, I don't know who the WASP were.
Oh, really?
They sent them to the memorial.
There you go.
So they got to see the exhibit. And that was, again, God showing off.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but he just did.
It's so wonderful to see his hand in this whole story.
Oh, yeah.
Start to finish.
Throughout.
Yeah.
And we met one WASP she called herself an atheist. And after interviewing her for a while, I said, Ann, you're not an atheist. You're an agnostic.
Yeah.
You know God's there. You're just mad at him. And she laughed. But there were not very many.
Yeah.
They were all, what do you do in the cockpit when you have a problem?
I was going to say, they say there are no atheists in foxholes. So
not in the cockpit
probably
either.
not in the cockpit.
And certainly if you're up there in the clouds, and you're looking at the beauty of this wonderful world, I can't imagine you can't think outside that box, and say, this is not just chance.
For young people, particularly young women, what would you like them to kind of take from your mom's story?
It is, that you can do anything that you believe you can do, that you're passionate about, if you're willing to put in the work and you're willing to give God glory.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but I have to add that last part.
I agree.
I think young women can do and be anything. It's an exciting time to be a woman in this country or anywhere. The hero in the story of the Congressional Gold Medal was the first female Thunderbird pilot, Nicole Malachowski, who, when she met Mom and I, because we'd been butting our heads into many congressional walls, trying to get somebody to think this was a good idea, Nicole said, well, I'm a White House fellow. What can I do to help? And she did. She wrote the bill.
Yeah.
She actually wrote the first draft of the bill. I'm sure they did their Washington thing.
Mm-hmm.
But she's the one that Senator Hutchison, she got an appointment with her chief.
You're talking about Kay Bailey?
Yep.
Yep.
Got an appointment with her chief of staff in order to run it by Kay. We couldn't get we met Kay.
Mm-hmm.
Kay gave Mom a book, but we couldn't get a meeting.
Couldn't get a meeting.
But it's all that Washington, all that tape, that red tape. But Nicole was just fantastic, and we would not have had a gold medal without her. She was great. And she believed in the WASP. She said, I wouldn't be a Thunderbird pilot if it hadn't been for the WASP.
Right.
So she's a fan, but she's a foxhole buddy too.
Oh, man. You've got just amazing memory, particularly all of the storehouse of stories that you have come across, and I appreciate so much you spending some time here with me today, Nancy, to talk about your mom, Deanie, and what a gift her story is to us all. And it's great that we can continue to have this live on through the Wings Across America collection.
Oh, there are many. Yeah, there are 110 stories. I got to tell you one more. How my mom met my dad.
Please, yes.
At Tyndall Air Force Base, it was a transition and training base, and it was a gunnery training base for gunners to learn how to shoot at planes. Now, back in World War II, we didn't have, 7-Eleven, you couldn't go do an arcade game. You had to actually get in a plane and put the bullets in the gun. These bullets were dipped in different color wax. This gunner had red ones, this gunner had blue ones, and the planes were flown by pilots for B-24s. The targets were towed by B-26s, and that's what Mom did. She had a pilot, a co-pilot, and then behind her was an engineer who'd let out the sleeve. It was like a big windsock that went out behind her plane. And she would fly a pattern out over the Gulf of Mexico, and here comes the B-24s with the gunners shooting at these, targets. And then they'd drop them somewhere, and if your bullet hit the target, it made a little colored circle.
Yeah, you knew exactly.
So you knew who, okay. So one day, and my dad said what he did was, he told his gunners, he said, there's a really cute pilot in that plane. I want to meet her. He said, I want you to shoot at that target, but I want you to shoot so close to the tail of her plane that you get her attention. But don't put any holes in it.
Oh, no.
My dad said when she got out of that plane, he said her feet never even hit the ground, and she was right up in his face saying, what are you doing?
Are you crazy?
That was the beginning of their relationship.
I love it.
And the funniest part of it to me was when they went up they were both sent up in a weather ship. You needed a pilot and you needed an observer. Mm-hmm. She was in the back observing. He was flying. He'd been flying B-24s. This is a little bitty plane. He was flying all over the sky. He was overcorrecting, as Mom said. And so she tapped him on the shoulder, and they had gone out on a few dates. She tapped him on the shoulder and handed up a note that said, please fly this thing straight and level. You're making me sick. And at the bottom of the note, in shorthand now, she wrote, I love you. In shorthand. Yeah. Note came back a minute later, in shorthand, I love you too.
I love you too.
My mother learned to fly to meet the instructors. My father learned about the cute girls by taking shorthand. Mm-hmm. So they were a match made in heaven.
Made in heaven. Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, so that's a true story too.
Gosh, that is awesome. Well, you come from a wonderful heritage.
Thank
for
you.
sure.
Thank you. I'm a proud Air Force brat.
I know you know that, and it's just been a delight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
Stay with us. There is more of the show ahead.
The Riesel Fair is back and bigger than ever. Bring the whole family for a day packed with fun, from thrilling rides, delicious food, local vendors, and live music Friday night. Saturday music begins at 2 p.m. Admission is $5 for adults, 2 to 12 years $3, 2 and under are free. Mark your calendar and join us for the Riesel Fair May 7th through 9th. The Riesel Fair, where memories are waiting just for you.
For anyone that's in the car buying mode or looking for a car right now or a truck, I would definitely come by Allen Samuels, get to know the people here like I have, how well I'm taking care of the dealership and how well, service and any kind of warranty issues or those sort of things. Because of the way they take care of me, it's made me a Ram driver. And so I don't think they'd want to go anywhere else if they came here.
Like Allen Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Allen Samuels Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Earning an online certification is a quick and convenient way to gain industry-recognized credentials. Select your ACLS course. Print your ACLS certificate. You can print your certification wallet card. aclsnow.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Cleanse your body of accumulated toxins and embark on your wellness journey at your own pace. At Global Healing, we provide premium supplements to help your body heal naturally. Start your healing journey today at globalhealing.com and organichemp.com.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
Finance is evolving. Automation, data analytics, and AI are reshaping what finance teams do every single day. The best way to predict the future of finance is to be ready for it. If you want a head start, check out 365 Financial Analyst.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today.
Enjoy a quiet atmosphere with beautiful river views at the Brazos Landing, located in Waco along the Brazos River across from McLean Stadium. Enjoy homemade dishes like shrimp and grits, chicken piccata, braised short ribs, prime New York steaks, and more. Plus, enjoy a delicious dessert like creme brulee or key lime pie. Open for lunch and dinner Tuesday through Sunday. Brazos Landing in Waco, the only place where I-35 and the Brazos River meet.
If I had somebody that was looking for a car, I would definitely recommend Allen Samuels. The trust that I have, the care that they take, they genuinely want to take care of you. They really ask for your feedback when you go to the support department to make sure they're taking care of you in every way possible. So I really appreciate that they listen to your feedback.
Like Allen Samuels always said, Waco has a lot to offer, and so do we at Allen Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat. Come by, let's be friends.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
I had a panic moment running my hands through my hair, and that's when I found Keeps. Keeps gave me the results that I was really looking for.
I definitely felt a lot more confident once I saw my hair coming back.
Keeps has given me the control of my hair back.
Get your first month free at Keeps.com.
It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
This is a Rogue Media Network production.